Alright, so I know some of you guys were not with us today due to various things, and what we want to look at, or what we did today, was we looked at the idea of using matrices to help us find a solution to a system of equation. And a lot of that has to do with the idea of a multiplicative inverse. And if you guys remember, a multiplicative inverse is when I can multiply a quantity by its reciprocal, and I will get 1. So that's kind of what we want to try to do with this matrix here, just to kind of start off. Like, I want to look at this matrix 5, 3, 3, 2, and I want to be able to multiply it by something to basically get 1, which we called the identity matrix, which is 1, 0, 0, 1. Now, there's like a way that we can use by hand to come up with it, and it requires something that you might see in future math classes called determinants. Finding the determinant of a matrix allows us the chance to find that inverse. But there's a way that we can do this on our calculator. So let's kind of point to this matrix of 5, 3, 3, 2. And let's try to find out what that inverse is. So the way we're going to do this, guys, is we are going to turn our calculator on, and then we are going to press second matrix, and it's going to pop up names, math, and edit. And what we want to do is we want to edit a matrix. So we're going to go down to edit, and we're going to press enter on that matrix. And this dimension is 2 rows by 2 columns. So we're going to keep it as 2 by 2, or you could press 2 by 2 in, which a lot of you guys might have to. And we're going to type in row 1, which is 5, 3, and then the bottom one is 3 and 2. Okay? So the way we got there, once again, guys, is we just press second matrix. We went to edit, and then we just typed in the dimensions, and then we typed in row 1 and row 2. Okay. So now, we want to find the inverse of it. So the way we're going to do this is I'm going to press second quit to get out of that window. I'm going to press second in matrix again. This time, I want to choose A. Okay? And the inverse I can find by just doing x to the negative 1. So I'm going to press second matrix enter x negative 1. And I get this matrix. This matrix is your inverse. So I'm actually going to write it down right next to it. Okay? So the inverse of A of that matrix is 2, negative 3, negative 3, 5. And so what does that mean, Mr. Graham? Well, that's a great question. I'm glad you guys asked that question. But what that means is if I multiply these two matrices together, if I take 5, 3, 3, 2, and multiply it by 2, negative 3, negative 3, 5, I will essentially get 1. I'm in a square matrix. I'm going to get 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay, so just to show you guys that, I can check this by just pressing second matrix A times second matrix A to the negative 1. And if I look, I get that to be 1, 0, 1, 0. Or 1, 0, 0, 1. Okay? So why are we going to need this? Well, we're going to need this to help solve a system of equations. So let's look at question 9. Okay? Yours might look a little bit different, but I just try to make mine a little bit more user-friendly in size. Okay? So let us... I'm going to shrink this a little bit for you guys. Okay. So, I want to solve this system, which talks about, suppose a promotion manager for expansion baseball team can buy athletic bags for $9 and caps for $5. The total budget for buying balls and caps is $25,500, and the team plans to give bag or a cap, both, but not both, to the first 3,500 fans. Okay? Well, first thing, anytime that we want to solve a system, is we want to define some variables. So let's just say X represents the number of bags sold. And we will say that Y is the number of caps sold. So when I go through this, I'm going to be asked, hey, what is that system of equation going to be? So in this situation, I know I have two totals. I have 25,500, and I have another total of 3,500. Okay? Well, what I know about that 3,500 is if I add X and Y together, I should get 3,500. So for that other situation, I'm going to be using $9 and $5. Well, I know it's $9 for a bag, and I know it's $5 for a cap. So here's your system, and we've done plenty of these, and you guys know how to solve this by elimination. I can actually use a system of equations to help solve this, or use a system in matrix form to solve this. So when I look at this, I'm creating three basic matrices here. I'm going to have a coefficient one. I'm going to have a variable one. And I'm going to have a solution one. Now the solution one's easy. If I look at the solution, my solution is going to be identical to what the solution is here. So it's going to be 25,500 and 3,500. That's my solution matrix. Now if I look at this, what are my variables? Well, I have two variables. I have X and I have Y. So that's going to be my variable matrix. Okay. And my coefficients, well, I have 1, 2. I'm going to put 1s there because there are 1s in front of those Y's. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 values. So I have 9, 5, 1, 1. So basically what I just did is I took this equation and rewrote it as a matrix because I know 9 times X gets me X. 5 times Y gets me 5Y. That works out. That's going to equal 25,500. If I look at 1 times X is 1X. 1 times Y gets me 1Y. That's going to equal 3,500. Now, how do we solve an equation? Well, we usually divide, or, well, we always divide both sides by what's being multiplied. Well, it's kind of hard to do that with matrices, so that's where the inverse comes into play. So, what we're going to do is we want to find the inverse, and that's what C is talking about. We want to find the inverse of this matrix. So, in my calculator, I'm going to type in matrix A. I'm going to type this into matrix A just like what we did. So I'm going to go second matrix. I'm going to press enter on edits. I'm going to type in 2 by 2 again. And it's going to be 9, 5, 1, 1. That's what this matrix is. So what I'm going to do is I want to find the inverse of this matrix. So how do we do that? Oh gosh, how do I do that? All right, so I'm going to press second and quit to get out of that window. And I'm going to press second in matrix. I'm going to press enter on A, because that's where that matrix is, to the -1. And I get these decimal values. If I want to, I don't like decimals, Mr. Graham, I could press math, enter, enter, and that's going to create a matrix that's not decimals. So what I'm doing is I'm taking both sides, and I'm going to be multiplying by 1/4 -5/4, -1/4 9/4. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. So I'm taking 1/4 -5/4, -1/4, and 9/4. And I'm multiplying those two equations together. Okay? Alright, so I know that that's going to become 1. So that leaves me with x, y on both sides. So I have to multiply these two matrices together. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into my calculator. I'm going to press second x to the -1. And this time I'm going to go to edit. I don't want to go to that one. I'm going to go second x to the -1. I have another matrix, so I'm going to go to 2. And this matrix is a 2 by 1. Okay? So I have 25,500, and then I have 3,500. And what I want to do is I want to multiply these two together. So I'm going to take second x to the negative 1. I'm going to say a to the negative 1 times matrix B. Oops. And when I do that, I get a solution of 2,000 and 1,500. So that means that the number of caps, or number of bags, because remember we said that X represents the number of bags. The number of bags sold are 2,000. And the number of caps sold is 1,500. Okay? I'm hoping that's helpful for you guys. I know if you have questions, we can talk more about that, but we will see each other tomorrow.